The Dallas Cowboys dominated the Washington football team 56-14.
Dominated does not do that justice.
No, it really doesn't. 56-14, and the Cowboys are now NFC East Division champions. They're looking real good heading into the playoffs, and this might be the hardest question I ask you all day. Were you most impressed with the Cowboys offense or the Cowboys defense?
What about the special team? They blocked a punt for a touchdown.
Okay, throw them in there too.
I mean, you got to say the offense. And that sounds crazy with Trevon Diggs with another interception, DeMarcus Lawrence with one of the best pick sixes you'll ever see.
Yeah.
But considering where they had been with Dak Prescott in his admitted slump, that's what we wanted to see, right? That's what Cowboys fans were looking for. Dak to look comfortable. He even took off running a couple times. He was more accurate. He got everybody involved. I mean,
everybody involved.
You couldn't have scripted a better game for a Cowboys fan. The national stage, everybody now in the NFL is like, whoa, the Cowboys are back. Dak is back, and they're a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs. It was a perfect game.
And Dak said he wanted to peak at the right time, so I guess he was just calling, okay, it's going to be week 16. That's when we got to make sure our offense is back.
I don't know if that's a choice when you can peak.
Right.
I mean, they're trying like crazy to peak and, to be good in week 1 and week 9 and week 12. If you're going to peak and go through a valley, I guess, week 10, 11, 12 is a good time because that was the best game they played all year. We've been looking for a full game, right? The total game from all three phases, and that was it. That's the blueprint. They play like that, they'll win the Super Bowl. Absolutely.
Wow, I like that prediction there. Something that stood out to me.
Especially if they play Washington in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, okay, there we go. If their opponent is Washington, they will win the Super Bowl. Something that stood out to me after the game when the players were talking was, first of all, rookie Micah Parsons saying, oh yeah, the defense, we can play better than that, which is a scary thought.
Yeah.
And then secondly, quarterback Dak Prescott, whose health is of course so important to this team,
Always.
saying, I have never felt better than I do right now.
And that was music to every Cowboys fans' ears, because, including me, because there was a line of demarcation of pre-calf injury and post-calf injury with
Absolutely.
Dak. And it wasn't just the stats, although it was the stats. It was just the way he didn't look comfortable in the pocket, how he didn't take off running.
Yeah, he wasn't as speedy as he was before.
He looked like some of us who have hit 50, and like all of a sudden, overnight he went from like athletic and a force to on RPOs, like he doesn't want to run and teams don't have to worry about it. And that seemed like a problem. But last night, a crack in the pocket and off he goes for 11-yard run. It was like, okay, Dak's going to be Dak again. That was very relieving. But and God bless Micah, he does nothing wrong, right? Saying they can play better, you want to hear that from your team.
Absolutely.
But we'll be stunned if they play better than last night,
Right.
I mean, that was a perfect defensive game. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence with the interception and Diggs with the interception.
Parsons with the sack.
Micah's got a sack.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just checked off
every single playmaker made a play.
you check off what you want to see, your bingo card was filled last night with Cowboys plays.
Absolutely. So the understatement of the century, or maybe the year, I'll say the understatement of the year is that defensive coordinator Dan Quinn has turned this Cowboys defense around.
Man.
And now his name is very hot for head coaching positions.
Gotta be.
How much longer are you thinking that Quinn will be a Cowboy?
How long is the season going to last? Because he's going to get offers. I mean, people forget Dan Quinn took the Falcons,
Right.
not only to the Super Bowl, but had a 28-3 lead. Don't remind him of that. Of course, it's a horrible point in Falcons history, but that in itself is a major accomplishment. So it's not like the guy can't coach and forgot to coach. That team went south after that, and that was a fork in the road for a franchise. And
he's never said he doesn't want to be a head coach again.
Of course.
Right.
I think it was smart of him to take a step back and, let me get out of the limelight and the pressure and just prove again to myself a little, but to the rest of the NFL a lot, that I can still coach and I can transform a team. And think about this team last year, the defense last year, to where it is now.
Complete turnaround.
Now they're scoring points and forcing turnovers. Lead the league in interceptions. Last year, they were historically horrible. Last year, every time I watch the Cowboys game, I'm like, I got to have my defensive record book handy because they're going to give up 200 yards rushing again or 40 points again. It was just a nightmare.
And now you're keeping track of the records in the opposite way.
My head was spinning last night. Like, this is the first time since, just fill in the blank because that was crazy. Dan Quinn, NFL Assistant Coach of the Year.
Right.
Done deal.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn.
Give him the trophy.
Dan Quinn to get NFL head coaching job interviews and offers. Done deal.
Yeah.
Maybe if the Cowboys prolong, deep into the playoffs, Jerry will let him go do an interview, but it's a foregone conclusion. He's going to get offers. Now, will he take them?
Yeah.
Maybe it has to be the right position for him, but he's definitely a hot commodity, and he's reinforced Dan Quinn can coach in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. And good for Dan Quinn.
Absolutely.
So the Cowboys are the number 2 seed in the NFC. Do you think that there is a chance they can catch the Green Bay Packers for that number 1 seed?
Well, there's definitely a chance.
They're in control of their next 2 games.
But will they? No, because they have the tiebreaker with the Packers because they have a better conference record. But the Packers they host Minnesota, and the Packers finish the season at the Lions, which you couldn't script any better if you're a Packers fan. Cowboys got to win both and hope the Packers lose one of those games. If they do, if they tie, they host, they have home field advantage in the NFC playoffs. But, if you look back as a Cowboys fan to the last 2 Packers games, they've been very fortunate. And you've been on the edge of your seat, like, this is the game they lose. Baker Mayfield throws a late interception last week, and it looked like Cleveland was driving for the game-winning touchdown, field goal. 2 weeks ago, Baltimore scores with 30 seconds to go to get within 1, and John Harbaugh goes for 2. Baltimore completes that 2-point conversion. Maybe they win, and the Cowboys in the driver's seat. So it's still possible, but you're not going to bet on the Packers. So they're going to be heavily favored in both those games to end the year.
Well, and now the Arizona Cardinals, a very motivated Arizona Cardinals, are coming to Dallas.
Desperate.
Yes, desperate.
Wheels are flying off the Cardinals bandwagon, isn't it? I mean, they were, 10-2 and looked like they were in control, and they've lost 3 in a row. Is that right?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
So what can the Cowboys do, especially coming off such a blowout, to make sure they don't let up with the Cardinals, and how much of a threat do you think they are?
Well, obviously they're a threat. They're very talented, but since DeAndre Hopkins went out, that seemed like Kyler Murray's go-to guy. Their offense has just plummeted. You watched them the other night against the Colts, and they're struggling to score 17 points, and this is the team that was, scoring 35, 40 a game.
Right.
Like everybody, they've been hit by injuries. They're still very dangerous. Kyler Murray still in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
The problem is the Cowboys are not going to play any better than they did Sunday. They just beat their rival, hammered their rival. They clinched the NFC East. Now they can still sniff the number 1 seed, and that's what Mike McCarthy's got to use as motivation.
Absolutely.
But it's a tough job keeping them at the level they were at this Sunday night, because it felt like a little bit of a, maybe not a peak, but at least a plateau of we've accomplished something. Because the Cowboys at the start of the year were like, here, if you talk to the Cowboys back in, and we were out there at training camp in Oxnard.
Right.
Number 1, let's get Dak healthy. Check. Number 2, let's improve this horrible defense. Double check, right? Let's get Zeke back to where he was and lighten his load with some Tony Pollard. Right. Check. Let's have a winning record unlike last year. Check. Let's win the East. Check. So you're going down your list. You're like, we've checked a lot of boxes here.
Yeah.
The next box is getting number 1 seed,
right.
And you don't control your own destiny on that because of the Packers. So it's a tough sell, and you let up a little bit, and the Cardinals are a team that can absolutely come in here and beat you.
Absolutely. It'll be fun to watch.